Thursday was a national day of mourning to honor the nation's 39th president. Jimmy Carter was 100 years old, the longest-lived president in U.S. history. From the plains of Georgia to here in the Northwest Metro, former President Carter left a profound impact. Reporter Emily Haugen shares how the Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity is honoring that impact.
We know that affordable home ownership is the foundation for better educational outcomes, better financial outcomes, community engagement, financial stability.
On this newly constructed wall,
and we're just so grateful and thankful for all of the contributions that he's made,
is a tribute.
So I said, President Carter, job well done, fly high.
Sharice Turner's message joins a wall full of others.
He did his job well.
All honoring former president and Habitat for Humanity champion Jimmy Carter.
All that he's done, not only just for Habitat, but globally, has been really impactful, heartfelt.
Turner works for Habitat in the Twin Cities. There, they've put up a wall for anyone to sign. A symbol, Turner says, of the doors he's opened for others.
What a heck of a legacy to leave, and it continues, because we still have this work to do.
Habitat's projects stretch across the Twin Cities, including the northwest suburbs. Turner's Brooklyn Park neighbor is one of them.
It's just a reminder of how important Habitat really is, because it brings communities together.
Turner never met President Carter, but her coworker Katie Lowe did.
It was absolutely humbling and inspiring to just be in his presence and have his kind eyes looking at me for that brief moment. It was a real honor.
Carter came to Minnesota in 2010 to help with the Carter Work Project in the Twin Cities. Lowe said he was the first to arrive and the last to leave. It all pointed to a greater cause.
Our families have created that foundation where they can grow and thrive. Their kids do better in school. Adults have the opportunity to go back to school.
Lowe says this is just a small way to commemorate the legacy.
President Carter's lifetime of service and legacy with Habitat for Humanity is really inspirational to so many of our volunteers, and we see that ripple effect continuing into the future.
A wall full of messages, honoring a life well lived. In St. Paul, Emily Haugen, CCX News.
The wall is a public mural for now, but eventually it will become a part of someone's home. The Robbinsdale community is mourning a longtime city council member and former mayor.
Never once did he say a disparaging word about Robbinsdale. He was always building up Robbinsdale and his family and friends.
Former Robbinsdale Mayor Mike Holtz died on Tuesday. He was 76. Holtz spent 32 years on the Robbinsdale City Council, serving 16 of those years as mayor. Former Robbinsdale Mayor Bill Blonigan says Holtz took many small steps that helped usher in years of positive changes across the city.
So we did things like that set up the whole city for future success, and just one building block at a time, and he was part of all of that.
The visitation for Holtz will be on Friday, January 17th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Garrity Delmore Chapel in Robbinsdale. His burial mass is the following day at Robbinsdale's Church of the Sacred Heart. In other news, a high-risk search warrant served in a Brooklyn Park residential neighborhood Thursday morning led to an arrest and a search for a potentially deadly hazardous substance. The Brooklyn Park Police SWAT team arrested a man related to an ongoing domestic violence investigation. They also learned the suspect may have castor beans, which contain ricin, a deadly poison. Hazmat personnel with the FBI and the Minnesota National Guard were called in to secure the property. Police say suspected castor beans were found, but say the situation is under control and there is no danger to the public. The Northwest Metro is losing another pharmacy as the nation's two largest pharmacy chains continue to downsize. CCX News has learned that the Crystal Walgreens, located at the corner of West Broadway and Bass Lake Road, plans to close. In October, Walgreens announced a plan to close 1,200 stores over the next 3 years, starting with 500 this year. Business experts say the closure comes down to several factors. U of M professor George John says pharmacies don't generate much revenue for prescriptions. Competition from Amazon has also increased. And John says the retail component, where pharmacies make most of their money, has deteriorated.
The bottom line is they don't control their own fate in pharmacy. They're basically a service operation. So When you lose control of that front end of it, meaning your retail space is not as welcoming as it used to be, the whole edifice sort of crumbles. And that's kind of what's happened to Walgreens.
No date has been specified for the closure. There are 2 other Walgreens stores located within minutes of the Crystal location, one in Robbinsdale and another in New Hope. After several serious dog bite incidents last year, the Brooklyn Park Police Department is proposing new rules for dog owners. One new ordinance would require that all dogs have some form of identification. That could be a tag or microchipping. Another ordinance aims to crack down on backyard breeding. That law would limit property owners from keeping more than 3 dogs at a time. Dog owners that violate the laws could be fined. There could be other consequences for aggressive dogs.
If the dog is involved in a bite or a significant aggressive incident, they could also be labeled. They could be labeled potentially dangerous or dangerous within the city. That turns into not only fines, but then also an annual registration with us too.
If your dog is labeled dangerous, you could also be required to meet fencing requirements in your yard or have an extra insurance policy. The Brooklyn Park City Council is expected to vote on the ordinances proposed in February. An apartment complex in Brooklyn Park has sold for more than $100 million. A sale that developers say not only shows the strength of market rate housing in the area, but offers a glimpse of what's next. 610 West, a 480-unit apartment complex near Highway 610, sold for $113 million. According to the property's previous owner, Eden Prairie-based The Doran Group, a private equity firm purchased the property. The sale would be one of the most lucrative of its kind in recent years. A press release from the Doran Group says the sale will allow the company to invest in future projects, which include a 124-unit apartment community for ages 55 plus next to the Reserve at Arbor Lakes development along Hemlock Lane in Maple Grove.